In this third video on WordPress SEO using Yoast, we're going to cover the other tabs that are on Yoast that you probably ignore and I probably ignore, but are worth looking at occasionally. And first one is the social settings, things like Facebook, Twitter and Google+. Sitemaps, there's some extra tweaks you can do on permalinks that are worth doing, and the defaults are usually quite good, and then RSS feed settings. So we'll have a quick look, starting with the social settings. And as you can see, there's three separate tabs: Facebook, Twitter and Google. Add open graph metadata is ticked by default. Worth leaving ticked. I've never really done much on open graph, probably you should do, but haven't. And you can add Facebook as admin. Be careful to do that from the machine you normally log in from, otherwise Facebook gets a little bit twitchy. Or you can use a Facebook app. If you've got a Facebook page, you can link to it there, and a few other things. So any of those worth doing if you use Facebook a lot. So again, as I said, worth a look. Twitter, if the site's got a Twitter username, use it, and if you've got any metadata from Twitter, tick that box. Again, I tend to leave it unticked. I tend to be not very sociable. And then Google Plus is a drop-down author from the home page, and if you've got a Google Plus page about your business, you can put the URL there. That one says make sure you've filled out your Google Plus profile link on your profile page. So if you go across to mine, we've got a huge, great, long, ugly URL because I've not changed it, and I've got a Twitter ID there. So, but I haven't got the Facebook profile because I haven't got a business one yet. I probably should do, but I haven't. So that's the social side. If you've made any changes, click Save. The next one that we're going to talk about is XML sitemaps. Sounds scary. Sitemap helps a search engine find its way around a site. Doesn't mean you'll necessarily get crawled, but there's a higher chance. So tick the box to enable it, otherwise one won't get created. It says you don't need to, but as I said, I tend to tick the box to create it. It's just better. That one, disable author or user one, I tend to leave that unticked. Let's just leave it normal. Ping Yahoo and ask, just to let them know you've, and it automatically plugs Google and Bing anyway. But if on Yahoo, it's probably completely unnecessary now because Bing supplies their results. Ask. Some people use it still. Exclude post types. I've excluded media mainly because I don't tend to use it, but otherwise leave them all unticked. Exclude taxonomies, however you pronounce that. And I tend to exclude all those from the sitemap just because they just add duplicates. And if you've got a maximum number that if you don't like their default of 1,000, it's unlikely. It's unlikely you'll have memory issues. So, but if you wanted to, you could set that to maybe 500, and that would change that. Again, press the save if need be, if you've changed anything. Permalinks are the next one to look at. Strip that. It doesn't matter because if you remember when we set up the normal one, I'm not using category anyway, but you could disable it there if you wanted to. Enforce training slash, I wouldn't worry about that. It explains it if you need it. Remove stop words from slugs. That's worth checking it's ticked. Stop words are words like and or if and things like that that add nothing but just make the URL longer. Leave that unticked, so you redirect unless you've got a reason not to. Not sure about that one, so read the instructions if you've got a very large site. Decide whether or not to do that. Redirect ugly URLs to clean permalinks, not recommended, so don't. And then leave the canonical settings as a default. Again, unless you've got a good reason not to, leave those as default. So that's why I'm skimming through these a bit. The next tab is internal links. Breadcrumb settings. If you've got a really large site, a breadcrumb trail is one we got basically a trail across the top and it shows you where you are, so it could be home page, blah, and then WordPress SEO and so on. Generally, I tend not to enable breadcrumbs. If you do, you're going to need to follow the a full tutorial on it, because it's kind of weird. Again, typically if your site designer hasn't included them, if you haven't included them, you probably don't need them. But your choice, and there is help around, but it's not something I'm going to go into on this video. The final one I will do a little bit briefly is RSS feed. Again, you've got extra settings you can do. RSS feeds are, I tend not to amend this because they're not dead, but they're certainly not used an awful lot nowadays. So unless, again, if your site is getting regularly used on other people's RSS feeds, pay attention to this and go through a bit of help and do it. Otherwise, don't. It does allow you to tweak what you're doing slightly, but as I said, it's not something that's used as much. Google have got rid of their RSS feeder, which tells you which way the market's going. So do all those, you'll be well ahead of the crowd on your WordPress SEO, and that will help you, or should help you, come up higher in the search results. So thanks for watching. There's links to my site below. Feel free to click through to them. Okay, thanks very much.